Alright guys, so this is the next episode, whatever we got here. I can't fucking believe it. That dang... Whatever, doesn't matter. Alright, so, yeah, oh boy, what are you doing, Matt? I apologize. What I'm doing is, this is my life, man. What I'm doing is, this is my life, and... actually, I as bizarre as it is, I might as well say it. If it is true, is it true? Okay. So I might as well say it, like, basically the last time I pressed something on this controller with my right thumb, I think like that was fine. Oh, unlock novice. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Wow, we have a lot. Yeah, you can tell we haven't been fucking lockpicking shit in this game. Like, I've been lockpicking like nothing. I didn't even realize I had this many fucking bobby pins.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's helpful. But basically the last time I touched, or I pressed the button with my right thumb, in for this game, that sort of signified that I was fine. Oh, interesting. Can I take that? Cool. Do I get ammo for that? Well, I'm already fine, but that signified sort of a moment where I was fine. So I'm extra fine now, right? We're still fine, but... So what we're looking to do is... Yeah, well, basically I've been having a hellish time. I've had a hellish life, and it has been hellish. It's funny, it's like, oh, Matt, hellish... You're a white American man. You're not hellish enough. No, it has been hellish enough. I'll tell you why. Why? Because I've been treated like scum for so long. And I'd like to get into it, but first we're going to eject this portable hard drive so I can make the next video for my YouTube channel. So hold on. And then, well, no, we're gonna eject it, but then we're actually gonna put some stuff on it. So I'll be right back, probably. So anyway, yeah, this is actually interesting because I'm literally recording this while I take my hard drive and put it in for another video. But I've had just a hellish life, and it has been really bad. And here's the thing, of course. The thing is, so many like honest pieces of wisdom, or let's say common wisdom pieces that people have, are just totally disregarded by them when it comes to anything that's actually true. Like when it comes to any actual events, they throw their common wisdom right out the window and then insult you as if nobody ever said anything. In this case, in this case, with that, I am referring to emotion. Like, oh, you know, what's bad? Like, what's the worst pain that somebody could go through? Now, most of the time, when you ask somebody, like, well, you know, you talk about life, whatever. What is the worst pain? And most of the time, people are going to tell you, well, emotional pain is the worst pain, and you know, physical pain, you know, that can be bad. It can be excruciating. But usually it doesn't last. Usually it's not like... Basically, usually the physical pain is not like what's the biggest problem. If you're talking about your biggest problems, especially your most long-lasting, ongoing things, you are talking about emotional pain, probably. So, what I'm saying here is, and Matt, call this physical pain, period. But what I'm saying here is, physical pain is not the biggest pain. The biggest pain is actually emotional pain. And or maybe not the biggest, I don't know. The biggest problem is your emotional pain. Oh yeah, Matt, you gonna repeat that again? Well, I should repeat it again because it seems like people don't take it seriously. Because everyone pays lip service to that, like they pay lip service to so many things, religious and otherwise. And then when you're like, yeah, I've been going through a tough time, they're like, well, what happened? What happened? You're eating. You're in America, which we all know is such a great country, and everything's going well, and even beyond culturally, all of our laws are good, and there's no tyranny, and the social standards aren't steadily worsening based precisely on what's going on with the TV, and everything's not it's like, yeah, well, obviously things aren't even good to begin with, even in supposedly good countries. But then, like, supposedly, like, and I say good countries in this case as in supposedly rich countries. It's like, it's so funny, you got your left-wing people and they're like, the rich are bad, and then anytime you say, well, I'm having a tough time, they say, you're in America, it's a rich country, you should be happy. It's like, so was it the rich are bad, or was it that you should be happy because you're in a rich country? I don't know. Maybe you should aspire to be bad, according to them. But like, they will not even acknowledge you usually for any emotional pain. And of course, I'm not saying that emotional pain is always easy to see when it's happening, but what I am saying that I've been through incredible emotional pain, and the one thing that I've almost never gotten any kind of compassion for is the worst pain that you can be in, according to most people. It's really insane, actually. Hold on. So yeah, a lot of people pay lip service to all these things. Another thing is like failure. People pay all this lip service to failure, but then it's like when you actually fail and you look bad. Check out my Monday, February 23 post on Substack. When something actually happens and you look bad, people are like, oh well, that's horrible. It's like, didn't you say that failure is like supposed to be the biggest like learning opportunity, and like failure is supposed to be like, what helps you learn to do better in the future and stuff? But then when somebody actually fails, or when things actually go badly for someone, it's like, oh, you better shove that to the side. It's like, I don't know, man. All this common wisdom that actually seems very helpful. And it's like, oh yeah, emotional pain is the worst. My biggest teachers were my biggest failures, etc. And people are just not quick. It's not even immediate. They have already disregarded that as they fucking say it, because if they ever come across somebody who actually is in one of those situations, it's like, you're bad. You need to fucking check yourself. It's like, I don't think you know what I'm saying, man. I don't think you. Hold on. Oh my god. Hold on. Yeah, I think that a lot of people are just bullshitting all the time, and they pretend to be good people. And the funny thing is, a lot of the so-called common sense, it really is like pretty good wisdom. And yet, when it comes time to follow it, It's like, no, we're actually going to go with what society told us, which is actually, it's like Jordan Peterson saying, how do you know you believe in God? You act as if you believe in God. And he's like, so I can't tell you that I necessarily believe in God, but I act as if I do, or I think I act, whatever. I'm not saying Jordan Peterson is, you know, a total, you know, he wasn't part of some UN committee, etc. But what I am saying is, it doesn't seem like people act like they believe in what they say. What they actually act like they believe in is the opposite of all the common wisdom, and what they say is horrific. Well, what they say is horrific, what they do is horrific, but then sometimes they'll say things that are actually really wise and stuff, and then they'll sort of walk around looking all smug. And it's like, sorry guys, you don't get to look all smug after you say things and then don't act on them. And you might say, well, Matt, that's pointed directly at you, motherfucker. What are you saying? Let go, but then what do you do? What are you saying? You know, accept them as they are, but don't interact with them. But then are you accepting people as they are? Look. I'm not saying that I've been doing everything precisely well, but at least I'm trying. I don't see anybody trying. I see people basically keeping up slight appearances. And so yeah, this is the second Fallout video, but yeah, second as in physical pain. I don't know, man. I've been through so much, and like, it's funny because like, you really, maybe you have to go through enough trauma to see what people really care about. Basically you have to become enough of a pariah to see that people don't give a shit about anything they say they care about. At least most times they say, oh, I care about free speech, and then no, they don't. Then they say, oh, I care about X, Y, Z. It's like, yeah, obviously, Matt, what, you're telling us a bunch of shit. We already know. Yes, people watch the news. They watch the news. They get their bullshit. The news has, if they had double standards, that'd be nice. They have standards past 10. They don't have standards, actually. They don't have double standards. They have zero standards, because they'll take one phrase and then it will contradict with like 80 other things that they say. 81. It's like, yeah, absolutely it will. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, because I don't think, even the people who refer to it, I don't think they do it. But actually, I don't even think people refer to this that much. The total double standard of almost everybody in society. I'll tell you one person who talked about it, Jesus. That's funny enough, and that came right to mind. I didn't plan this all out, but Jesus talked about the hypocrites who pray in the streets. The hypocrites. Everybody is a fucking hypocrite. And they take the hypocritical oath, right? Oh, the Hippocratic oath. No, it's the hypocrite. It's, oh yeah. Well, once you look into enough word games, you find out that it probably is the hypocritical oath, because they say do no harm and they do exactly the opposite. It's just a fucking cliche, and an understood cliche that most people say they even accept these days, that you're more likely to die in a hospital than outside of it. Almost than anywhere else, actually. You're more likely to die in a hospital. And it's like, well, what? They have a lot of sick people in hospitals. That's interesting. I would go and check that, because yeah, well, you probably are more likely to die if you're already sick, right? Or you're already injured, whatever. But I think basically the main point is you're more likely to die by what the hospital does to you than almost anything. And by the way, Matt, you can edit in this one and beyond. Maybe, I think everything leading up to it was fine. Physical pain period, and the most recent before this screenshot for this screenshot. Anyway, yeah, it's the hypocrites in the streets, and you know what? Here's the thing. Like, I guess at a certain point, this is probably the whole progress. Let's fight as we talk. Hold on.
The good guys win again.
Oh, that's super ironic. Also, synchronicity. The synchronicity's all over the place. So the good guys win again right after I said all that. I didn't plan that. That's huge. That happens all the time to me. That already happened on probably, I think it was on my final Twitch stream, and I saved it actually. So I may, you know what? I'll probably post it after this. It's called the free period. Yeah, I saved it, but it happened on my final Twitch stream. It's like characters will say something in a video game, and you can check that. Whatever video might end up being posted called the free on here, the free period, you can check it. I refer to it right there as synchronicity after it happened. Same here. You get deep enough into spirituality, and suddenly shit starts looking like a kaleidoscope, and it all feeds into itself. The good guys win again? Yeah, I bet. Okay. Come on. Yeah, well, that's okay. Anyway, I'm not sure where I was going exactly with this, but I'll tell you something from the Illustrated RPG life, actually. Let's do that. So I've got 3 categories for society. All right, I got 3, and it goes with the amount of eyes that you have. Well, yeah, third eye, right? No, maybe there's 4 in that case, but no, it's a 3-eye metaphor. It's a 2-eye metaphor, but three categories. So first you have the blind. That's most people. You have the blind. Then you have the one-eyed man. The one-eyed man is the man who realizes that basically everything in society is bullshit. It's a man who is. Let me look it up. Maybe I'll look it up here. Basically, it's someone who does not deceive themselves. Basically, they are a noticer, but they deceive others. They notice things, or in many ways, they are not deceived, but they deceive others. That's the second category. That's the one-eyed man. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Now you have another category. That category is the blind. That's most people you know, most people you've ever met. That's like most people. Like, I'd say probably, 85%. It's funny, you got the 5%ers, the 10%ers, and the 85%ers in the Wu-Tang conception. I think that probably lines up pretty well with what I wrote down. Now, what that is you have the blind, who believe the bullshit. Basically, they buy the society. Society is built on lies. They buy the society. They fucking believe the bullshit. They don't realize anything else because they're not honest people. They're not even honest with themselves. Then you have the one-eyed man. Now, there are plenty of dishonest people who are maybe somewhat honest with themselves, but the one-eyed man is your Illuminati. He's your guy wearing dark robes, telling you a bunch of lies on TV through the guise of 100 fucking newscasters. He knows what he's saying is bullshit. People on TV, a lot of them, I think, know what they're. You get a lot of one-eyed men on TV. You want a one-eyed man? I would point to Ari Melber. He's a classic example of mine. Ari Melber, he's a one-eyed man, I think. Rachel Maddow, she's a one-eyed man, woman, but still. Almost any highly paid newscaster, they know they're not speaking the truth. If they were speaking the truth, then they'd stumble over themselves and they'd reveal shit, and basically they'd actually like fuck themselves up. No, to be so good at lying and to be so good at spinning a web of story, they would almost necessarily have to know that they're lying. Unless they're basically just told what to say. But they are lying to you. They realize that it's all bullshit, and they continue to say it. And they are feeding off of that. In the land of the blind, as Tom Waits said, etc., the one-eyed man is king. Now you have the two-eyed man. Now the two-eyed man, I think I'd put myself there. I think a lot of truthers are there. I think a lot of big truthers, like big famous truthers, they might be two-eyed men and one-eyed men. Like, they might be semi-one-eyed. They might be controlled opposition, basically. I don't know. But actually, you know what? I think Two-eyed man is kind of big. I think the one-eyed man, no. You know what? Controlled opposition, that would belong in category 2. Category 1, the blind. Well, maybe we'll reverse it, whatever. Category lowest, the blind. They are self-deceived, disempowered. Then you have the empowered, non-self-deceived. Deceivers, something like that. I wrote it down more specifically in the book, The Illustrated RPG Life. That's fine. The one-eyed man. Did I say what? The two-eyed man is the non-self-deceived, empowered person. Now, you might look at me and say, "Well, Matt, how are you empowered?" Now, I don't know. Depending on how well some of the stuff does, maybe it'll seem like I'm pretty empowered pretty quickly, because people, I think, tend to look at results, which is not a terrible way to look, I guess. Or they look at social results, maybe, which maybe is a terrible way. Then it's tough to differentiate your rich deceivers from your rich good people or your rich non-deceivers. But if your blind is at one side and your Illuminati / deceivers are in the middle, then your two-eyed men, the empowered, non-self-deceived, or really just the honest man, as Dave Mustaine says in one of the songs on the great album Countdown to Extinction, an honest man stands tall, or something like that. The honest man, the actually honest man, who's honest to himself and others, is the two-eyed man. Maybe that's it. Honest to yourself and others. Now, the totally dishonest, maybe we could say the dishonest. That's interesting. The dishonest are dishonest to themselves, and they're dishonest to others. They're not good people. But they're not necessarily that bad either. The one-eyed man, I think, then you almost dip into, like, it's almost like an opposite bell curve. You dip into, I'm deceiving people, and I'm doing it to gain relative rewards because I see what the truth is, and I'm being dishonest to gain. And it doesn't have to be a propagandist either, but it's basically, I know that this is all bullshit. I operate somewhat knowingly within the bullshit because basically I've killed my care, cremation of care, etc. ceremony. Right? Alex Jones going in doing that. By the way, Alex Jones, ever hear of a comedian called Bill Hicks? I'm not saying Alex Jones ain't one of them. I think he's one of the bigger one-eyers, maybe. In any case, then you have your people with two eyes open. They've got their left eye open, but whereas the famously, all the celebrities, they're pictured closing their right eye. They hold a hand over their right eye, etc. They're the one-eyed man. No, the two-eyed man, he has his eye open for himself, and then he has his eye open for other people. And I think here's the thing. Once you're honest, you transcend half of humanity and further. You transcend almost everybody. You are probably the 5%. Once you're honest, you are a specimen that is not to be fucked with. Not that you're gonna get good results. Oh shit, hold on. Fuck. You're probably not going to get good results if you're honest. Good results in a relative sense. Hold on. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's get the heck out of here. Alright. Come on. Chase me up the stairs, why don't you? But yeah, the two-eyed man, you may not get what seem to be attractive outcomes in your life, but it doesn't matter, because you're a good person. You're an honest man, and that transcends all. Now, can you be honest and not good? I'm not sure that you can. Just like, can you be good and not honest? I think honesty is the foundation, as they say actually in a Wu-Tang song. Let's listen for the explosion. And I can tell you that. It's the song Campfire from 8 Diagrams. Oh, Matt, you're a racist. Yeah, that's why I'm telling you about a fucking Wu-Tang song. You fucking cocksucker racist. You know, looking real sweet on like certain different types of different colors of people and saying, they're my favorite people and all these other people are racist. It's like, no, guess what? I've actually listened to a shitload of stuff from African Americans. Guess what? There's a good thing in the album 8 Diagrams by Wu-Tang Clan where they say, well, how do I be a good man then? And the guy, what does the guy say? He says, first, you must practice honesty. Now, he says other stuff too, but he says, first, you must practice honesty. You know the rarest thing in the world? An honest person. You know the rarest thing in the world? Someone who's going to tell you the truth. Someone who actually gives a shit about the truth. Who actually gives a shit about the truth. There are very few like that. And there are probably just as few who are in the two-eyed man category. And that is me. And that is King.
Matt, not this last one.